A man named Armani Azadi was allowed to compete for the first round of Beast Games. He was previously charged with at least 20 counts for battery, kidnapping, pandering, and robbery. What a really stand up guy for a family television program, but what say you, folks? He pled guilty to the pimping charge, acknowledging the significant evidence against him. He allegedly also slept near female contestants. That's great. Before being kicked off set for inappropriate behavior. I mean, what a shocker there. Him? No. Right? It's not like he has a history of pandering women, which he acknowledged. He had significant evidence against him. Some of the female contestants confirmed being very uncomfortable around him. He is also friends with Jake Paul and other influencers. I wonder who these other influencers are. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Why was there not adequate background checks to catch people like this? And you know what, Rosanna? I got the same question as you, girl. Hello, 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 and welcome to Alexasrewm, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, we are not law enforcement, we are not journalists, we are just people who have opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, including what is going on with Mr. Beast and his games and hiring all of these convicted criminals. I have no idea. I don't know if this was a casting mistake, something that we place on the casting agency, or if this was an inside casting job by, I don't know, another potential influencer who maybe is also competing in the Beast Games, or if Mr. Jimmy Beans, Beast wanted. I have no idea. I have no idea. But this came in just a couple of days ago, literally 2 days ago, August 17th. This was an article posted up via actually this. The interesting thing is that people knew about this like 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when the FBI served a search warrant on a Las Vegas graffiti mansion reportedly connected to Jake Paul investigation. So this mansion here, and this whole story takes place in Las Vegas. This guy Armand, who's buddy with Jake Paul, and people knew about this. People knew about it 4 years ago. So this is not new news. This is old news. I like how woke everyone thinks they are and how big cancel culture is now. But Armand Azadi can have over 1 million followers on YouTube still after being a convicted pimp and kidnapper from 2013. This dude waterboarded a girl because she was wanting to get out from under him, which we are going to read about in 1 second. Twitter says that it was because Armand Zadi turned out to be a high-end pimp, I think they meant, and had become well known in the area to beat the crap out of all the girls that tried to leave and sending them to do the casino rounds, because he said he was like a casino host or something like that. All those Instagram girls partying at the house are mostly full service workers. So yeah, people knew about this. I love that article refers to Armand Azadi as a YouTuber. I tried looking up his YouTube channel. Maybe you guys have a link. Maybe it's under a different name, but I couldn't find a channel. Maybe he deleted it. I don't know. But as of 4 years ago, he didn't. When this happened, I didn't even know there was like a Jake Paul investigation with the FBI. I had no idea because I don't follow the Pauls. I don't really care about the Pauls. I think they're losers. They're overgrown man children, and just gross, disgusting human beings overall. And I just don't subscribe to them, generally speaking. So it's not a surprise to me that they are buddies with somebody like this. I saw an article years ago that he nearly threw a girl off the 43rd floor of a high rise, which prompted his downfall. So this was known. All it takes is a simple Google search, and this Reddit thread comes up. So I want to go into, because this led me down like this whole rabbit hole. Jake Paul stuff about Armand. Then we'll get into the uh, 2013 article about Armand, our buddy, stand-up guy who's going to be a competing contestant on the show that is marketed towards children. So somebody, a contestant that your children might be watching or your grandkids might be watching and rooting for and voting for to move through each part of the competition, however the game show works. I don't know. But I mean, it seems like he got a lot of FaceTime. And I don't know if Jimmy is going to cut him out completely because of what has come out or what has been brought to light. But I mean, it doesn't take a lot to dig this stuff up at all. So this was in 2019. Teenage girls allegedly drugged at Jake Paul's massive house party. So it's been alleged that young female guests were unwittingly drugged at Jake Paul's massive birthday party for the American rapper designer. The party was held at Jake Paul's sprawling Team 10 mansion on May 4, and a day later, an anonymous parent made the allegations in a Facebook post. Parent claimed that their teenage daughter, God, this sounds like a Diddy party, don't it? And 8 of her friends had been drugged at the party after an unknown substance was slipped into her drinks. And like, why? Why are teenagers going to this party? And that just made and I have to wonder, like, are some of the girls who he was a pimp for, were they underage? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. From the article, it didn't say anything about any of them being minors. But even still, even if they're consenting adults who are S workers, I mean, that doesn't open the invitation to, yes, I want to get beat by you and I want you to take my money. So this is all about the Jake Paul stuff, but it's relevant because he was there. Our buddy Armand. According to the parent, the girls were rendered incoherent by the drug, showed up at a California hospital half naked and unable to walk or talk. That is just disgusting and disturbing. My God. Facebook post from a concerned parent claimed that her daughter and 8 other women were drugged at his party. Let's see if we can get, and this is a link, so this tweet might be deleted, but nope. So this is by Keemstar. I know they this is they have their own little world, like the mrbeast world and the gamer. So, but this was the Facebook post. So a big warning with to those with teenage daughters. My daughter was at a party in Calabasas last night for YouTuber Jake Paul, and also I wonder I mean, did the parents know? I don't know. I'm not going to throw the parents under the bus right away, but I mean, teenagers will lie to your face. I know I did. I snuck out, went to parties, told my parents I was going, over my friend's house when really I was sneaking off, going here, being a delinquent. But I mean, did the parents know that she went there? And if they did, why'd you let her go? But I don't know. So she ended up in the hospital with 8 other girls who had been drugged and ended up at blank incoherence of the hospital. Something was put in their drinks. The girls were all half naked and unable to walk or talk. They were made to sign a disclaimer. Oh my God, if this ain't a Diddy party, I don't know what is. Holy smokes. I'm sharing this in hopes that you will talk to your teens and young adults. I'm sharing this in hopes to help someone. I will be reporting this to the authorities. So then this is a picture from the Instagram post. Engine 68, Squad 68 spent the majority of Saturday night transporting multiple patients from a party thrown by YouTuber Jake Paul. So that was tweeted in 2019. So this is who our buddy Armand likes to associate with. People like Jake Paul and mrbeast too. He's a friend of the Pauls. He had one of the Pauls. I think it was Logan Paul. I don't know if it was Jake Paul in that YouTube. It was like the Beast Games, but for YouTubers. It dropped, I think, a couple of months ago. 50 of the biggest YouTubers. I don't think it was Jake. I think it was Logan, but I could be wrong. But he's never, nonetheless, that's why I have to speculate that maybe this wasn't the casting agency who cast him, but still, why wouldn't you not do a background check? And that has to lead me to believe that if Mr. Beast, in fact, was responsible for getting this guy in, or somebody in that friend group, given this guy spotlight, I don't know, maybe because they thought he'd be a recognizable face, because he did have a YouTube channel, I guess, at one point. I've never heard of this schmuck until Rosanna Panzino tweeted about it, but I mean, Mr. Beast has, it seems like, a hard-on for convicted criminals and casting them or giving them jobs with his company. And I'm all for reform, but I mean, there's certain people that I just feel can't be reformed, and people like this guy seem like they are not. They're repeat criminals. Parent went on to state that they would be contacting local authorities concerning the alleged drugging, saying that they came forward about the incident, hopes to help somebody. An official complaint was made by female guest who also suspects that she was drugged at the party. LA County Sheriff's Department is investigating on Sunday, May 5, 2019. Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff's Station was made aware of a possible single occurrence of unwillful impairment related to a party attended on May 4. Detectives are in the beginning stages of information, yada, yada, yada. The Independent goes on to state the spokesperson confirmed that Police Station 9 responded to at least 3 separate calls on that night of the party, and at least 2 calls were for a sick person. Whatever that means. Drama alert. Host Daniel Keemstar Keem posted the Facebook warning to Twitter on May 5, which we just read. Fire department claimed that they spent most of Saturday night transporting partygoers from Jake Paul's residence, although attempts to reach his page have been proven unsuccessful. Was this the one that we were just looking at? Yeah, it's the same one, so same link. It works. However, attempts to reach this Instagram have been proven fruitless, with some commenters. Okay. Jake Paul's house party was a massive affair, with the mansion packed wall to wall with attendees, including, wow, Chris Brown. Oh, another stand-up guy, right? Another guy who loves to beat on women. Love that. And designer himself. Dirt bike stunts and backyard boxing was part of the event. Okay, so YouTube parties are known to be wild indeed. Massive celebrations at the Clout House have been shut down by law enforcement on multiple occasions. Back in April, Fozzie's Banks after party for Mr. Beast's Apex Legends YouTuber Battle Royale, I guess that was the thing that I was talking about before, I don't know, was put to a stop by police. So this isn't the first time something related to Mr. Beast with law enforcement. Okay, that's interesting. That's something I didn't know. The Fozzie Clan COO and YouTuber had spent $4,000 on liquor and accessories, and even commissioned a clout gang by Mr. Beast ice sculpture. What douchebags. Which guest could drink from. Let me see this little... Wait, can I watch it? Oh, let's see. Let's see what this little clip has. I'm just like as I'm going into this, guys, I'm like finding more and more. It's funny.
We got Riley Reid here.
This is How to Be a Beauty with
Okay, baby.
Sit closer to my face, bro.
What's good, nigga, little baby? It's your boy Viz Banks, and we're back another Sunday. That's 3 in a row. Hey, tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. Super proud of myself. I'm proud of you guys. We crushed it. We did 1 million in a day the last day. It's all good. I love James Charles, guys. I don't know what we're on special when we get so down. It's a legitimate Hollywood premiere. Thank you so much, Marvel. Didn't get paid to do this.
Same.
Super somebody. More legend. He is both these guys. Officer for that intro. Wanna we love boys. Just have music. I know you back to get the day. Doing now.
Well, actually, what we're doing, but no pictures.
Yeah, home. Good right. You guys have seen it. It's been on Instagram and stuff.
Right.
To Moscow right now. No light beat. Whole squad.
I'm ready to play.
It's gonna hit max capacity. I ain't gonna. How bad does it suck that you don't get to come?
So it's like you don't come around. All I speak is truth, and I told you.
The whole oh here it is. The sculpture.
Speak is truth, and I told you.
So I mean, and like here's the thing. Like I get it. Like Mr. Beast, like he's an adult. He's like 26 allegedly. I'm not really buying that, but he's apparently like 26. He's an adult. 4 years ago, he would have been 22. You know, I don't have a problem with like the partying necessarily. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful with your image as a whole. I mean, you don't see Taylor Swift out like partying, you know, she has a specific image that she has branded herself. She's built her entire empire on. And no matter what you think about Taylor Swift, is that there you won't find her, you know, pouring bottles of liquor into a what seems to be some sort of like ice sculpture luge that you funnel whatever. I guess that's like some kind of tequila. So I mean, I think it's all relevant just to get an idea of like who these people are and like who is tied essentially to the Mr. Beast brand.
Wait, it's almost done and it's done. Oh, he killed the whole thing.
All right, there you go. Not too much.
And you look around and you see some of these people. I mean, I don't know, like how old do you think that like some of these kids are? Like they look young. Yes, could they be over 21? Absolutely, but I mean, this doesn't necessarily look good for for your brand when you know you're knowingly promoting your content to kids, people who are under the age of 21, and they're seeing this behavior.
Oh, he killed the whole thing.
All right, there you go.
Blamity, you already know what's going on now.
All the things I've ever seen. You see this room. Wow.
See the real you.
Like, I mean, how old do you think this guy? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is 21. I don't know, but it's some of these people look like they're not 21. And this doesn't feel very kid friendly. This is a Mr. Beast event. So, and they get the party shut down.
Here, so wait 2 seconds, and then we can all get lit. So be out. It's a house party, you know. We're going black out. But I'll do that. Yeah.
So the party gets shut down. Party gets shut down. I've had a party shut down once or twice in my life when I hosted my Project X party when I was 18 in high school. Jake Paul has yet to respond to these allegations. So I thought they had mentioned Armand in this article, but they didn't. I don't know if he was at this party, but I think it's relevant in the sense of you get an idea of who Mr. Jake Paul is if you have no idea who Jake Paul is, and the people that associate with Mr. Beast. So now let's get back to our boy, Mr. Arman Azadi, who now apparently changed his look after he was convicted in jail. I mean, this looks like the same dude to me, but what say you guys? Do you think this is the same guy? I mean, it looks pretty dang close. If not, he's a doppelganger for sure. But contestants said they believe he was in the green team in the group challenge. Multiple people have told me he allegedly received a lot of camera time and was to be part of the story. Whether he will or not anymore, who knows? He was kicked off set. Was he invited back on set? It's not really confirmed. However, at the same time, there are also allegedly a lot of people 10 people have come forward to Miss Rosanna Pansino, saying that production's been calling some people this week, telling them that they're now kicked off the show and no longer allowed to compete. Appears to be a fairly large amount of people, because remember, if you missed my first video, and I'll make sure I link that at the very end of this video so you can check it out if you missed it, where we go through the Beast Games and some of the allegations that have come forward since filming began, that there was supposed to only be 1,000 people competing. This is what a number of sources to that New York Times article that was originally reported and tweeted out too, given a lot of visibility from Rosanna Pansino, who used to collaborate with Mr. Beast, who I believe competed in one of his Mr. Beast Games style competitions in the past and was ultimately offered money to leave the show, the competition, because even though she was winning, I believe at one point, because that's what they do. They like to rig, they like to manipulate, and whatever, that's fine. It's reality show, baby. We know it's scripted. We know that there is only so much that you can keep unscripted, which I don't really have a problem with, but blatantly lying to people about the number of contestants. And I guess now they realize there's too many people competing. A lot of people are getting hurt. Too many people that we can be responsible for. I don't know if one of those people was our boy Armand, though, who was let go, or if he's going to get invited back, how they're going to handle the situation. Mr. Beast and friends have not made any comments about this stuff. So this is just what we know so far. These are people who made it to the next round of Beast Games and were set to fly. So they were told, hey, you're going to get another shot to win $5 million, right? That's the biggest cash prize in reality TV show history, according to Mr. Beast. He likes to do everything big. It's got to be big, 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 I tell you. With 12 to 36 plus hours, some of them even had their flights canceled by production. And then we're like told after the fact, what? I am waiting for additional confirmation, but it appears that production is allegedly also calling people who were eliminated in the first round and are now inviting them back onto the show. So what is that about? I guess people who aren't as interesting get the hook off the stage, and people who have interesting backgrounds, like our buddy Armand, I don't know, I'm just speculating, get more camera time, get invited back to win that $5 million cash prize. So it's not about merit. It's not about how strong you are or how physically able you are or mentally able you are, going through each challenge of the competition and making it fair. You just pick favorites. So production has so far refused to give a reason, but the most common theory I'm hearing from contestants is that it was because of a psych evaluation given to contestants after the first round. So, in other words, not only are you failing to do background checks, if this was the casting agency, which I looked them up, I think it's like Mystic Cast or something. They cast a lot of reality shows like Wipeout, and I think what is that, Homemaker or whatever. Yeah, Mystic Art Pictures. Oh, this is interesting. I actually found, wow, this is okay. This is why we do everything in real time, folks. So this was, I used to act, I used to sign up for Backstage. So this is one of the casting producers background checked. The job poster was reviewed. Okay, so they get the background check, but not who you're casting. So this is what their project description says. Seeking contestants compete for a spot in the Beast game where they could win $5 million. Production states Beast Games is going to be the biggest game show in the history of television, with the most contestants, the biggest prizes, and the most insane, unhinged, surprising twists ever filmed. Like what? Casting a convicted criminal, a convicted pimp who allegedly waterboarded one of his girls. And this is what they're looking for. All ages, all gender, 18. So content creators and real people, actors and performers, whether you're a mom, sister, aunt, sorority sister, grandparent, or even a Navy SEAL, we'd love to see you apply for Beast Games. You must be 18 or older, have a valid passport. Head to beastgames.com to compete in the Mr. Beast Games and a chance to win $5 million. Share this opportunity with anybody who would love to compete. All roles not paid. Not paid, so none of these people are getting paid. I mean, it's probably like standard for competition shows since you're competing for the cash prize. But I think it's interesting if you are hiring actors and performers and content creators that you're not. I find it hard to believe that you're not paying them. But this is the casting agency, Mystic Art Pictures Extreme Makeover. That was the one that I couldn't think of. Right, and then they got Beast Games. Lacey Chabert, I like her. Judge Steve Harvey. A lot of reality competition, Wipeout. So you would think a casting agency like this, right? A casting agency like this would know to do a background check on who they're casting. Now, I tried out for The Voice a couple of years ago. By couple, I mean like 10 years ago when I was like 14, 15 years old. The amount of paperwork I had to fill out, I don't know if it's the same now, but the amount of paperwork I had to fill out, my dad, who was bringing me, because I was a minor, he accompanied me. We had to go through background checks. We had to bring all forms of ID. I think I had to bring like a copy of my birth certificate, like tons of crazy shit to verify who I was. Because NBC don't play around like that. So I'm curious, because this is through Amazon. Amazon is investing in producing this, right? Kathy Wallen, okay, Hulu, Amazon. So yeah, I mean, these are people who aren't. This was the guy who posted it, vice president. You would think they have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to casting reality television shows, right? And doing background checks, having that level of experience. So I'm finding it a little hard to believe, in my opinion, that he just skated through, unless it was an inside job hire by Mr. Beast himself, because he's buddies with the Paul brothers. It's my speculation here. I don't know how he got the gig, but I mean, he's no stranger to Mr. Beast. And I could see, again, going back to that tweet before we get into this article by Rosanna about how a lot of people are getting let go because of a psych evaluation. I don't think this guy would have passed a psych eval. And remember, they only had one psychologist, one mental health counselor on set for 2,000 contestants. Do you think one psychologist is enough for 2,000 people? Now, I again, this is all what's being said by these nameless sources, so we have to take it with a grain of salt, to be fair. But with everything else that's come out, I'm finding it really hard to believe it's not true. But we still don't know. And I tend to agree with her. Either they did a psych evaluation of contestants too late, or they're playing favorites. And I think both can be true. They want maybe certain people to skirt to the top, like this guy, Armand, and call back and just brush certain things on, because I don't see any shape, way, or form this guy could pass a psych eval test, let alone a criminal background test. So, but what say you? So let's learn about what he did, right? Let's learn about these at least 20 counts. This guy that's got so much face time allegedly on the Beast Games for the first round. Is he going to actually appear on the Beast Games? I don't know. Are they going to call him something different? I don't know. But police report details alleged crimes by high-end Las Vegas PIMP. So this was back in 2013. So this was over 10 years ago. And a lot of people could say, oh, you could change in 10 years. And I do believe in reform, but I think when you read what this guy did and what he copped up to doing, because the evidence was overwhelming to him because he pleaded guilty, and innocent people, in my opinion, don't plead guilty. I think you might think a little bit differently, maybe, about our friend over here, and whether or not people like this are reformable, and if they should be given platforms that are marketed towards children. But I digress. Arman Azadi lured women to his S-worker ring with promises of immense wealth, his companionship, most of all, his protection. Las Vegas police say that is a tale as old as time. They lure you in with charm. In this case, it was to work for him. I'll give you all this money. I'll help you pay off your student loan debt. I'll help you make more money than you even know what to do with. You'll never have to work another day in your life, yada, yada. We've heard this. We've seen it in the movies. Some of us maybe have even experienced this as well too, or know people who have. But this is all stuff I've heard when I used to work in the worker industry as a dancer. Sometimes pimps would come in. But the suspected pimp, who police say earned hundreds of thousands of dollars from S-workers trolling high-priced Las Vegas nightclubs, which puts him in the same place as that Jake Paul that we just read about, right? And he was good friends with them. So even though we didn't see him in the video, can't say for sure if he was there or not, but I think it's fair to say he could have been. And at the very least, Mr. Beast's name was attached to that party too. So Las Vegas nightclubs did little to guard the women who made him rich. Police said Azadi, 28, so now he's almost 40, used charm to attract. Yeah, so raid on Graffiti Mansion, Las Vegas, linked to arrest of YouTube star. So yeah, exactly. This is the article that we just read about. Oh no, this was a different one. This is a different one. Wait, hold up. Hold the phone. This is what I was looking for before. Raid of Graffiti Mansion, Las Vegas, linked to the arrest of YouTube star. So this is Jake Paul. This schmuck. Raid of Las Vegas residence of Graffiti Mansion is reportedly linked to the arrest of YouTube star Jake Paul and his friend Arman Azadi on Wednesday in Scottsdale, Arizona. TMZ reports that FBI raid is somehow connected with Paul getting arrested in Scottsdale during a George Floyd protest. The FBI is investigating allegations of criminal acts surrounding the incident at Scottsdale's Fashion Square in May 2020. FBI source told TMZ the FBI executed the search warrant starting at 6 a.m. in the Calabasas. Yeah, so it was okay. So yep. He just wasn't named in that article. With an ongoing investigation, FBI spokeswoman Laura Miller said in a statement, according to the Associated Press, Zadi is the reported owner of a graffiti mansion. So he owned the mansion. Had plenty of legal trouble in 2013, where he faced 20 charges in 2013 involving pandering, coercion, living from the earnings of a S-work, and battery. He entered an Alfred plea in 2014 on one count of pandering, but it was vacated less than a week later. That's interesting. Okay, because that's not reported here, but I think that's because this article came out about a year later. Case is listed as closed according to the Clark County District Court records. So he entered an Alfred plea. And an Alfred plea, for folks who don't know what that is or didn't see the staircase, it's a type of guilty plea in criminal law that allows a defendant to maintain their innocence while still pleading guilty. So they're saying, I'm innocent, but there's an overwhelming amount of evidence against me. where if I did go to trial among a jury of my peers, I would likely get convicted, even though I believe I am innocent. And if you again saw the staircase with Michael, what was his name? Michael, not Michael Peters, Michael Peterson. Yeah, Michael Peterson, Kathleen Peterson, who allegedly he pushed down the stairs, or I think he struck her over the head, got into a fight with her. That was the prosecution, what they believe to have happened. Whereas I think they said an owl flew in and she slipped backwards, etc. So if you haven't seen that one, that's a really, really, really good watch. I think it's like a 10-part series, really good, but that's what he entered into in 2014 for the pandering. But it was vacated a week. So he admitted, he copped up to it. I don't know why it was dropped. I'd be curious. Maybe I can do some digging. Or if you guys know, let me know. But it's listed as closed as of this article to Clark County District Court records. So I will have to look that up. But that's interesting. So he was allegedly the homeowner of this. And isn't it funny how it's like all these people like Jake Paul, mrbeast, like they get invited to the Kids' Choice Awards and the Teen Choice Awards, and all of them have this content that's marketed towards young people, and they are more than just degenerates. They are criminals. They're criminals. And in that case, they invited underage girls. So I can only imagine some of the S workers. And it's not stated that there were any minors working for him, but is it possible? Maybe. Police said Azadi used charm to attract women. I can't imagine what kind of charm this douche canoe had. I mean, he looks like a plebe, but like a neck-bearded incel, in my opinion. But anyways, I usually don't like trolling people for their physical looks, but I mean, if you're gonna cop to doing something like that, then I'm gonna drag it a little bit. So, yeah, viciously intimidation to keep them, viciously beating them if they try to leave. Zadi was arrested Wednesday morning when police and IRS agents. So not only that, he also doesn't pay his taxes. Raided his home at the Sky Las Vegas complex, where he lived in a swanky condo. So not the graffiti mansion overlooking the strip. Details of his activities were outlined in a Las Vegas police report released Thursday. Now, I could not find this police report, but let me have another look. So I can't find the police report as of now, but I did find this interesting article. So this was when the Jake Paul stuff was going down. So I mean, he looks exactly like the guy that's competing in the Beast game. So he asked police to charge him with identical crimes after looting video scandal, which we'll get into in a second. So him and Jake Paul are tight. Like, I didn't realize that. Like, Rosanna said, like, oh, he's friends with, but he seems tight. Like, to the point where you're like, yeah, charge me with the same crimes. Like, that's bizarre. So, yeah, I can't find the police report right now. If I can find it, I'll shoot a updated video with the police report going through that. But if you guys have a copy, or you can link me to something, feel free to email me at Alexasrewm with one M at gmail.com. So the case against Azadi began in December when one of his former S workers, authorities said, told police, God, this reads like early 2010s, am I right? Told police she had been tortured after she tried to leave him and the sex industry. The woman said she met Azadi at XS nightclub at Encore last year. Azadi claimed to be a special promotions casino host, but his real money came from pandering. After befriending the woman over a span of a few months, he suggested she could pay her law school tuition by turning tricks. The woman agreed, and even when Azadi didn't set up her appointments, she found her own clients in the city's vast nightclub scene. So she found her own clients because he's not even doing the thing that is like his job, right? The thing that he makes the most money from is by not even doing anything at all. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories like this from even girls that I've worked with as dancers. A lot of them get recruited in clubs and they double up or they do their own thing. They have their own side hustle. She told police she made more than 20 grand around the busy Halloween weekend last year, not long after becoming a S worker, but her income soon slowed. And in a few months, she grew tired of the lifestyle. Didn't help that Azadi was becoming aggressive and constantly demeaned her. She said, now I know some of you guys might be like, well, like she's putting herself in danger by doing this and yada, yada, yada. And I understand. I used to work in the club. Right? It was a local club. It was small. And it was generally we attracted a good client base. Not tons of creepy creeps. My experience, it was in a good area, location-wise. So we didn't really have a lot of issues that some of these people, I can't imagine. Las Vegas, you're getting people flying in from everywhere, right? So and the clubs that you'll work in, or even if you're an S worker and you're an escort, your kind of clientele can vary, right? So what I can say is it's not as easy as you think. One, to get out, especially when you get used to making that level of money. I mean, 20 grand. I mean, I haven't made that much. I never made that much money, even when I was dancing. I make very good money, but it gets addicting. It's hard to walk away from. And a lot of times you feel like you have no other option. It's your only choice. It's the only way that you can make money fast, which is sad. It is sad. And after a while, you convince yourself of it. And it's hard to break away from that. But I will say, being in that industry for 6 years, it does tire you. And you can literally, there were times where I'd look in the mirror and I would hardly recognize myself because of just how fast you can age working in any kind of club atmosphere, even bartenders too. If you guys have ever bartended, it's exhausting, not only just physically, but mentally, especially when you're on that end of being even a bartender, right? Where you're constantly listening to people. And it's a lot emotionally as well too. And it can age you really, really fast. But when you belong to somebody, now I never belonged to anybody, I was only a dancer, but when you belong to somebody like a pimp and you live with them, it's hard to, I can understand it's hard to break away. It becomes like a DV relationship, which we heard tons about during the Ashley Benefield case. Zadi became enraged and drove her to a bank where he forced her to withdraw a $5,000 tax. Tax on what, bro? She's making her own money, getting her own clients. You loser? What are you doing? And in the leased $1 million Las Vegas country club penthouse where she lived with Azadi and several other women, she said he tortured her for more than an hour. She told police Azadi bound her hands and trapped her in a walk-in shower. God, does this not give you Diddy vibes, right? Where he alternately beat, choked, sorry, trigger warning, and scalded her with hot water. That reminds me a lot too of the Tyler, Nikki Chang, Saley McCain case. Zadi also placed a towel on her face and sprayed water on her, a form of torture called waterboarding. When she started to black out, he would slap her awake, she said. Zadi later dragged. So that is interesting too. Zadi later dragged the woman to the penthouse balcony and forced her onto the ledge. So that was kind of that was like the Reddit comments that we read too. So this has been out for a minute. Forced her onto the ledge at knife point. He threatened to throw her to her death before dragging her back inside the home and spanking her with a wooden paddle. She said He then dragged the knife across her body, causing a 5-inch cut on her thigh, she said. The cuts and bruises were still visible days later when she met with detectives. So, okay, so like there were physical injuries. And he entered some form of a guilty plea, the Alfred plea, for this. So, I mean, there was an overwhelming amount of evidence where he wasn't willing to put the risk and take it to a jury trial. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy for this guy at this point. She offered to get a tattoo in Azadi's honor. That's so sad. She said the pimp drove her to a parlor where Azadi's name in Farsi was inked on her neck. She fled later that night after Azadi left the penthouse for food. Wednesday's raid on Azadi's home came more than 4 months later. Okay, so this was 4 months. So this was a serious investigation. The raid involved at least 2 condos at Sky Las Vegas. 2 women found at the condo complex confirmed Azadi's violent history. One woman said she earned about 50 grand. The other said she made about 100 grand. It's unclear whether they were charged with any crimes. Probably not. They probably copped some kind of deal so they could get him. Just my speculation. Police booked Azadi on a long list of charges, including S-worker crimes, kidnapping, domestic battery, extortion, and coercion. This is really upstanding guy that you want your kids rooting for in a reality-friendly game show competition, right? I'm rooting for Armand, right? I hope he wins. He wasn't the first high-level pimp suspect to make headlines, so this was like a other story. In October, Azadi pleaded guilty to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm after he beat a man he engaged to shoot a music video, court records show. He was placed on probation, ordered to pay 30 grand in restitution to his victim within 30 days of the guilty plea. So he's a serial offender. He's a violent man. He's been convicted, at least entered guilty pleas at least twice at this point, as far as we know from these articles. In addition to living in luxury homes, he drives a Cadillac Escalade and a black Bentley. The Bentley's personalized license plate. What a fucking loser. So that's that from that report. That was the one that Rosanna Panzino linked. So I want to go back to this one. Armani Azadi, DJ, former Team 10 member and owner of Graffiti Mansion, Las Vegas. So that one was the one that we read about with Jake Paul getting raided with the underage girls. Is standing in solidarity with his friend after Paul was charged with 2 misdemeanors on Thursday. Running from the cops, shooting tear gas at us with no orders is a crime, then charge me too. Okay. Captioned an Instagram post, which holds a sign. So this dumb freaking what a loser. Only an hour before posting the photo, he tweeted, so they want to charge Jake Paul for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, they got to be besties, right? Interesting. Unlawful assembly is a super stretch, seeing as how there was no order to disperse only a gas can in our direction after walking out of a restaurant to see what was going on. Last weekend, Paul came under fire after photos and videos of the controversial YouTuber standing outside a looted P.F. Chang's began to circulate online, and the most talked about clip from the night, which was filmed by Paul's videographer, Andrew Blue, on Instagram. A person is seen coming out of the restaurant's broken store with a bottle of Kettle One vodka, which is handed to Paul. Both Paul and Blue shared clips that placed them in and around the mall that night. None of the clips depicted Paul or another member of the group he was engaging with in any obvious criminal activity. But that didn't stop his followers from swiftly condemning him again. Many wondered why Paul is worth an estimated $11.5 million, would need a free bottle of vodka because he's an entitled douche. That's why. But I'm glad people were calling him out for that. That's why I don't subscribe to these brothers and all that, and I just can't stand them. just like the embodiment of spoiled brats, spoiled boys, children. He deleted on trace of the night's events. Yeah, if you felt like you didn't have anything to hide, why would you delete all that, right? In a tweet, Paul addressed the charges on Thursday. Give me my charges and let's put the focus back on George. Oh, gosh. Okay, so then he goes into that. Chaos broke out at the Scottsdale Fashion Square on Saturday when people began damaging businesses and restaurants, including an Apple store and P.F. Chang's. Paul offered the following clarification regarding his. Okay, so he was, I guess, charged with some kind of looting. But these are the people that Mr. Beast is associated with. These are the people that he'll easily. So that's why I don't find it that hard to believe that, one, he'll probably keep the footage of Armand and just frame it completely, or they won't even like mention him. Maybe he won't be focused for the story anymore. But I'm not surprised that he would cast somebody like this, because these are the people he associates with, right? Azadi was first arrested in 2012 on a battery charge after physically assaulting a film crew member he hired for a music video shoot. So before the whole battery charge for the S worker, he assaulted a film crew member. So, and this is a guy who is sleeping in a $10 sleeping bag on the floor next to these women after having a violent history where he's been convicted, where he's pled guilty. Not like unfounded charges, not like one little like indecent whatever. But battery. And he pleads guilty to all of them. Was ordered to pay $30,000 in a civil suit. Then he was arrested on 20 counts of battery, which we just went over. Related to the Las Vegas Review. Yep, that was the one we just read. So this guy has a history. He's buddies with Jake Paul, like buddies. And then here he's saying, this is another article I just wanted to share with you quick. Claims he was set up by a former cop. So this is 2016. He was busted in 2013, as we know. But he's saying he's the victim of a setup by a detective who is now the target of an FBI investigation. That's interesting. He came forward after seeing our I-Team report last week about a federal investigation of the local trafficking industry. A homemade video helped cement the public's image of Armand Azadi. It includes all the stereotypes of a rap video, girls and GUNs, and Azadi acting like a gangster. So I guess this was the one, which is exactly what happened. It's not a serious thing, however, because it's super villain theme. Great. Yeah. The video got a lot of airtime when Azadi was arrested in April. His mugshot plastered everywhere with a shopping list of violent felonies attached, including beating, torturing, and kidnapping 3 women who said he forced them to work as S workers. So not even, these women didn't even consent to it. He forced them, allegedly. The arrest has been spearheaded by Metro Star Vice Cop Chris Bauman. What we have in this case are solid victims who had horrific experiences with him. We will use those victims to get our conviction on him. But that's not how things worked. Azadi is not a tough guy. He describes himself as a chubby party animal who likes to drink, schmooze, and crowd surf nightclubs in a banana costume. But he spent 20 months in county lockup awaiting trial. He was facing 20 felony charges, exposing him to a life sentence, his attorney said. And then poof, it went away. Prosecutors offered to drop the 19 most serious charges if Azadi would plead no contest to 1 count of pandering. He was set free for time served. So what happened? Attorneys Michael Cristalli and Vincent Saraverse filed discovery motions. They wanted to see the chain of custody for the evidence. So a chain of custody. It was not a fishing expedition. We've heard this a couple of times in the Karen Reed case too. Also too, Ashley Benefield. Some of the motions that were filed by the defense. I got to believe that they did know what we were looking for. We knew there was some material that they did not want to deal with. And can you say is it the material dealing with the investigative techniques of Detective Bauman? I would say that would be safe to assume. So potential chain of custody issues, which it would make sense as to why those charges were he was ultimately credited as time served for the 20 months he spent in county jail. Once they realized there was a problem with the case, so what was it? Zadi says that when he was arrested at his penthouse, agents from the FBI and IRS were present, along with Chris Bauman. Zadi says a heated argument erupted after he informed the feds that Bauman had tried but failed to bust him in an elaborate sting staged 2 years earlier. I mentioned this guy has run a sting operation on me before. I knows I'm legit. They were completely surprised. It didn't seem like information they knew. The agents left the apartment. No federal charges were ever filed, and now it appears to have been a major turning point. Prior to his arrest, federal agencies worked closely with Bauman's team to take down high-profile pimps such as Ocean Fleming and Micah Duncan, aka Wheelchair Mike. But when the FBI raided the home of music producer and alcohol kingpin Molly Mall in 2014, Metro's Vice team was not invited along or even told in advance. Multiple law enforcement sources have told the I-Team that both Metro and FBI learned that Detective Bauman had developed a friendship with Molly Mall, and that he also admitted to being romantically involved with several women who worked for and agreed to testify against pimps who were targeted by Bauman's investigations. He is engaged in a sexual or personal relationship with the alleged victim. She may be more inclined to testify along the lines of his expectations. That is where the witness loses objectivity. Zadi lost everything. He served almost 2 years awaiting a trial that never came and is now barred from the nightclubs he once ruled. He thinks that what happened to Bauman around the time his charges were dropped is no coincidence. When I was offered the deal, I read the newspaper the same week that he was retired. So he hasn't made a comment. They will reconsider their legal options is more about. So he's still saying I'm innocent, even though he took an Alford plea. Nevertheless, a lot of allegations. And he has a criminal record. He does. Whether he did those things or not, he did serve time for it, at least for the pandering. He was charged with multiple counts. But again, whether he did it, whether he's innocent or not, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know, but I can only speculate. He still nevertheless has a criminal background. And the issue that I have, that I think a lot of other people with just more and more of the controversy behind the Beast Games, is why Mr. Beast is so okay with letting people like this guy and registered PDF files work for him. How is it okay? And how many other people in your cast who are competing, I mean, like, that's the issue for me. It's like, and these people have a right. The other contestants have a right to know if they're competing alongside convicted criminal. They have a right. I would think if you have women there, they have a right to know, just like anybody else has a right to know. And if he was kicked off set for behaving inappropriately and making these women feel uncomfortable, I'm inclined to believe that, yeah, he probably is a schmuck and has been involved in some shady things. What say you? Do you think Mr. Beast should be held accountable? Do you think the casting agency should be held accountable? Do you think Amazon should be held accountable, or everybody involved should be held accountable? I think this is sick that they are allowing people who have criminal records, are not being forthcoming about it. And they're kicking off these other people, maybe people who are worthy contestants who actually could use the 5 mil and barely getting any face time because what? They're not buddies with Jake Paul. They're not, or would be yesterday's influencers, right? Maybe they're just regular hardworking people who actually believed they had a shot to win $5 million. I mean, what does that say? What message does that say to young kids who are looking up at these people and saying, yeah, I want to do a reality. I want to be in a Mr. Beast Games competition when I'm old enough. I want to be just like Armand. Look at him. He looks fun. He's got cool sunglasses. He's friends with Jake Paul. You know, we're like glorifying these people, and it's people who don't deserve to get the spotlight. People who otherwise, I mean, you're marketing this as a family, as we read in the How to Succeed in a Mr. Beast production document in my last video. You're aware of it, Jimmy. You're aware. And I don't know if this was your pick, somebody else's pick. But I mean, if it was casting, they absolutely need to be held responsible. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Mr. Beast should be held accountable? Do you think the casting agency should be held accountable? Do you think Amazon should be held accountable? All three. What say you? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. With that being said, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss this next Mr. Beast update from me. And make sure you hit that like button because it tells the YouTube algorithm that this is newsworthy news. And I believe it is because not a lot of people are reporting on this. And it just grinds my gears. One, because I used to be a former S worker. I used to work in that industry. And this is always just like a very personal topic for me. I don't like it. I think there are ways for us to regulate S work to keep the S workers safe and from schmucks like this taking advantage of these girls. But I think it's important because this isn't just another fear factor. This isn't just another reality show that isn't targeted towards children specific. This is targeted towards families, kids who are younger than the age of 18, who are looking up to people like Mr. Beast, consuming his content, watching with their parents. And they're consuming this content and looking, these are the people, these are the guys that we're supposed to look up to. These are the guys that they're supposed to look up to.